Congressman Swalwell, I want to get to your questioning of the acting director of national intelligence in a moment. But first, overall, what is your reaction to the substance of the whistleblower complaint?
Anderson, we are in the midst of a national nightmare involving presidential extortion. And the whistleblower complaint lays out essentially that the president sought to use our taxpayer dollars to benefit himself in a presidential election, and that we also are in the midst of an ongoing cover-up.
If the allegations are true, I'm wondering, what does it say to you that senior officials work to move or, as they say, lock down details of the call with the president of Ukraine? Does it imply that those officials knew the conversation was problematic and that this was, I mean, as you've said, it's a cover-up? That's obviously the phrase that Speaker Pelosi is using.
The conduct that the whistleblower describes is a consciousness of guilt to move the president's transcripts from an open system into a more classified system is an abuse of the classified system, but demonstrates that those individuals knew it was wrong. What's really concerning to me, Anderson, is that the president has brought this culture of corruption to the White House, and there are so many people involved in this who never did come forward.
Well, do you have any reason to believe the White House is going to let these other officials? I think in the whistleblower complaint, the whistleblower says that maybe as many as a dozen people were aware of this. Would the White House actually let other officials cooperate with the congressional investigation? Because clearly we've seen that has not been the case thus far.
We're going to seek that, but we don't expect that. We've seen the stonewalling of the past. And here, Anderson, frankly, we're not powerless anymore. We don't have to wait on the courts. We have the president copying to the act. He has admitted to the crime. The words in the transcript that he released shows the president trying to leverage U.S. dollars that are not his to seek a benefit for his election. So I really encourage my colleagues to move swiftly, not hurriedly, to hold the president accountable.
In your questioning of the acting national director of national intelligence today, you raised the possibility that the transcripts of other calls with foreign leaders could have also been moved in a similar fashion, which is also indicated or suggested by the whistleblower. Is there a realistic way to actually find that out?
We will need more whistleblowers to come forward. Of course, we're going to do our responsibility in Congress to try and seek those transcripts, which are not protected, which should not be classified. But you can only imagine, Anderson, that a leopard doesn't change his spots, and that if he's acting this way with the president from Ukraine, who he had just had a conversation with and didn't have a relationship with, what does the conversation with Putin sound like? What does the conversation with MBS from Saudi Arabia, particularly as it involved the Khashoggi slaughtering, sound like? Those are all issues that I think we should resolve and to see if this president is involved in other shady dealings.
Just finally, you called the whistleblower a true patriot coming forward with the allegations. What's your reaction to the president this morning demanding to know who the people were who gave the information to the whistleblower and suggesting that their actions are tantamount to being a spy, kind of waxing on about punishment in the old days where, you know, spies and treason were, which we all know what he was referring to, punishment being death?
Those are not the words you would ever hope to hear out of the mouth of a president of the United States, Anderson. That's what you would hear from an organized crime boss. And again, those words and those implied threats fit into the conduct described by the whistleblower of a president offering this deal to the Ukrainians and then his team seeking to cover it up. It all fits into a pattern of misconduct by the president.
Congressman Swalwell, appreciate your time. Thank you.
My pleasure.